Untitled Chapter.
What's going on, everyone? So welcome to my latest video. This is, of course, my review for 21 Jump Street, which, it being a March 2012 film, turns 10 this year, so I figured it gave me a pretty good excuse to finally sit down and review this film for you guys. So 21 Jump Street, a little bit of backstory. This is a film that I did own on DVD, then I finally upgraded to Blu-ray, then I finally upgraded to 4K when it came out, and I gotta say, the upgrade to 4K is especially worth it, but this is a film, guys, that I saw for the first time, I believe it was early 2013, and I'll never forget hearing about this movie because I remember seeing the trailer and saying like, oh, this movie could be fun, but it's R-rated, so I probably won't watch it, because that was my mindset back then. Because growing up in a very conservative household where you're not allowed to watch R-rated films, you kind of have it in your mind that I'm probably never going to watch this movie because it's R-rated. But sure enough, my friend John, shout out to you, he also similarly grew up in a very conservative household, and he was saying to me, dude, I just saw 21 Jump Street, and like, you should totally watch it. And I said to myself, you know what, if my best friend John's watching it, why not? I'll watch it. And I watched it, I'll never forget, at the library at my high school, because again, I just sneak watching movies. And long story short, holy cow, what a film. I was dying in the library. Like, you're supposed to be quiet in the library, obviously, but I was dying. This film is hilarious. Every single time that I watch this film, I consistently find myself laughing throughout. This is also a film that was my first R-rated studio comedy. It was a very raunchy film, and for me, it just really kind of surprised me with the, the shtick that was going on and everything. But it's also a film that 10 years later, I look at myself and say, it's also a film that really kind of made me realize that this is a rarity with the formula. 21 Jump Street is a film that shouldn't work. It shouldn't. But it does, and it's because it's consistent. There are a lot of studio comedies that aren't consistent. My big thing with comedies, and I think it's probably because of this film, to be honest, my problem with a lot of R-rated comedies in particular, and PG-13 comedies, are that they try to throw all these jokes at you 2/3 of the movie, and then the third act gets serious all of a sudden, and characters just do things just because. But with 21 Jump Street, it's actually telling you a story with plotting and details. And the humor is throughout, but there's also drama meshed in with all that. So this is something that is established early on. So that way, when there are those dramatic beats later on in the movie, they actually pay off. And I think that because this movie set the template for me personally as a viewer, I just really owe a lot to this movie as to how I view comedies. Because 21 Jump Street is a film that really works with the chemistry of Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill. You would not expect these two to work very well off each other, but rest assured, their chemistry is some of the best I've ever personally seen, especially of the 2010s in terms of comedians. I have to say, they are great. You would not think Channing Tatum would be this great, but oh boy, he is. Ice Cube's in this film. He's also incredible. I love the banter between him and Jonah Hill. These two are outstanding. They are like an old couple. It is amazing to see Ice Cube. He knows what to do with this dialogue. And I don't know if some of the dialogue was improv with Ice Cube in particular, but man, he was great. Rob Riggle's also in this movie. You probably know him best in like The Hangover, but he plays like the gym coach. And oh my goodness, I loved him. He's just so laid back and just so hilarious. My favorite scene with him, actually probably of the whole film, is when, no spoilers, but two characters accidentally take some drugs that they might not have intentionally taken, if you will. But these two characters take it, and then Rob Riggle, just the way he acts with these two, it's amazing. It's hilarious. The imagery, the actual, vernacular, the dialogue and everything, with the execution of such, it's just really good stuff, honestly. It's very impressive in terms of the comedic performances, and also the directing by, I forgot off the top of my head, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. These two are great. Like, they also show the range, because a couple years later, they would do the Lego Movie, but they were able to do a PG animated film like the Lego Movie, and then they were able to do 21 Jump Street and 22 Jump Street. That's impressive stuff, I have to say. They know the genre that they're working in, and they do so in a very fashionable way. I also love, there's a cameo of a certain big A-list actor towards the end. No spoilers, but I was very, very shocked that he was in this movie when I found out the first time. And I gotta say, each time that I watch it, I almost forget that he's in like that role and everything. But it's great. It's a great cameo towards the very end. You'll know it when you see it. But Brie Larson's also in this. I think that she's pretty good. It took me the longest time to realize like who Brie Larson was. So when I rewatched it recently, I was like, oh my goodness, that's Brie Larson. Holy cow. interesting. But it's a great film. It really is. Like, is it perfect? No. It does have some issues, I will say. Like, there are a couple moments here and there that I do think kind of lull, but overall, it's a very consistent movie that had me laughing throughout. It's a movie that has its heart in the right place, a great score, great cinematography. Like, these are things that you don't really hear me talking about in comedies. A lot of times it's like me talking about comedies. It's like, yeah, the filmmaking's quite dull. The humor was inconsistent. But here, 21 Jump Street, it's a tonally consistent film. It's a well-paced film. It's a film filled with comedic performances. And I have to say, rest assured, this movie is very well worth your time. It's also very meta. I almost forgot to mention the humor is very meta. And it really also showcases the time about how when people are in high school versus 10 years later, a lot of times things can change. That's relevant both in the movie and in my personal life 10 years later. And I got to say, 21 Jump Street, for me personally, I would definitely say it is worth your time. And 21 Jump Street, for me personally, I will be giving a... But yeah, so 21 Jump Street, again, gets a very, very high recommendation. Would definitely recommend you checking out. Also, 22 Jump Street, where is it? I would also recommend you guys check out 22 Jump Street. It's great as well. I don't love it as much as the first, but I do still love 22 Jump Street. And I gotta say, both of these bad boys are definitely worth picking up on 4K. So yeah, guys, those are my thoughts on 21 Jump Street. Let me know your thoughts down below on 21 Jump Street. Did you like it? Did you not? Let me know your thoughts down below. And as always, don't forget subscription, notification bell, and all that. Catch you guys later.